Okay, Kitchen Nightmares Measurement Post-Pandemic. That is the title of our next presentation. We have Justine O'Neill, who is the Director of Analytic Partners for EMEA, and we are going to join her presumably in her kitchen. Justine, over to you.
No, unfortunately, my colleague Kevin, who took you through a tour of his kitchen yesterday. So you just have me and a screen and some presentation. So really what I wanted to talk about is, as we gather here today, 6 months on from the start of the pandemic, perhaps shadows of our former selves. For some of us, it's been some of the most challenging months of our career, or maybe more realistically, slightly heavier, grayer versions of ourselves. We really feel like it's important to take some time to reflect on all that we have achieved over those past 6 months. Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares is one of my guilty pleasure TV shows. And I'm sure this image might resonate with a few of you. It's definitely how I felt at the start of the pandemic, when plan after plan was ripped up as new things were thrown at us, left, right, and centre, email by email. And I think at every one of those emails, my bad language frequency to maybe challenged Gordon Ramsay levels. Like many of the restaurants in the show, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it involves Chef Gordon Ramsay going into kitchens who are struggling to evolve and reinvent themselves. We've all had brands and companies who've had to adapt massively over the past 6 months. As Analytic Partners, we have always said that brands need to adapt and evolve to thrive. But as a company who said that for a long time, we had no idea how important that was going to be in 2020. As we kind of look on, we start to see that what was one of the most amazing things for me was how brands who were previously really poor at advertising or found it really, really hard to change, surprised themselves at the speed and the agility which they have been able to pivot over this time period. They were able to duck and dive, and we've seen some amazing things happen. We saw adverts filmed entirely on iPhones. We've seen almost e-com challenges set up almost overnight. And a lot of that red tape that has existed in the past been smashed through at record speed because of necessity. While there's no doubt that brands have been challenged, many teams have been rejuvenated and able to really rethink the let's do what we did last year and take away and add a bit that has become far more prevalent than we will admit to ourselves. A lot of these plans were built on trial and error, which was definitely better than standing still. It's not really how we want to build our business in the long term, effing and blinding, trying to see what sticks. Test and learn and experimentation have really become the buzzwords that we're hearing lately. Even on the sessions this morning and yesterday, it came up in many of them. And even us, we've had to adapt, and we've brought forward the launch of our Agile Learning Test and Control platform to really help our clients design and measure these experiments. And we're seeing more and more brands setting aside dedicated budgets to run these tests. I think one of our final thoughts is we need to acknowledge that the world has changed. There is no new normal. There's never been a normal. The world is constantly changing, and only those who embrace the change will thrive in the long term. Even Gordon Ramsay doesn't have all the answers. He is built on his experience, and without the testing and learning, we'll never know what we can thrive in the long term.
Thank you, Justine. Great presentation. So
Thank you.
Test and refine is definitely something that we've heard a lot of marketers talk more about. The word agility has come up a lot. How much do you think marketers have changed the way they actually operate and their structures to actually allow for that? Are they putting enough budget into this?
I think they're putting more and more budget into it. This year, I'm speaking with a lot of my clients in the past few weeks, and almost all of plans for 2021 have dedicated test and learn budgets. And that's something that possibly didn't exist before. There's a lot of reasons for it. Obviously, COVID has been one of them, but also the different avenues and options that are open to marketeers are growing exponentially day by day. And there's no longer, we have to do this, we can do this or this. And marketeers need some way to determine what's the best spend for their brand and their investment.
Yeah. One of the consistent themes we've had is the fact that brands need to be able to measure incrementality. There's a lot of people still saying that you can't attribute accurately. So do you guys share that view?
Incrementality is almost the first question that you have to ask in anything you're measuring. Did it bring incremental business to my brand, to my sales? that's the first question with any of these tests and learns. One of the clients I'm working with now, they're trialing a new mechanic, and it's the first thing, is it incremental to our sales? And the second question they're asking is option A or option B better at bringing the incrementality? But unless it passes that first incremental sales, then we can spend a lot of time changing the execution or changing the getting better buys on it. But the ultimate aim is bringing new sales to the business and defining what that success criteria is.
Well said, and beautifully on time. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.